from wherever you are joining us. This is Mayegun Live. Thank you very much for joining me, and welcome to the Temple of Truth with Mayegun's Diary. With Mayegun on Mayegun's Diary Political tonight. So, brethren, as we normally do it, as you are joining us at this hour, after reading the caption of this broadcast, I implore you to please read the description of this broadcast as well. Like the broadcast, share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them all that Mayegun today, Mayegun is live. And of course, if you have done that already, thank you. Tonight, we are taking on the latest or expected stunts from the Rufire, as well as the much talked about coalition or no coalition, where it has been advised that again, maybe strange bedfellows should come together and rescue Nigeria from Tinubu. And one of the arrowheads of those that brought Tinubu or helped Tinubu to achieve his, well, they say it's like his lifetime ambition, so to say, to becoming your president. And that is the Kaduna Little Finger, Rufire. It was the vocal head, or the most vocal among those who were actually like the sworn enemies of Kolu, until the last minute that nobody knew what really happened. That he switched in his in one of his own personal confession, which was after the 2023 charade. The brain behind the Muslim ticket in Nigeria, the Kaduna Little Finger, the jihadist Islamic extremist. Give me a sec, sorry. No, that's loud. I'm going to take a short break so that I can put something up before we continue. Don't go anywhere yet, okay?
My name is Nnamdi, and the reason why we're here today is to protest the killing of innocent women and children, and men for that matter, all over Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. We are not happy, we are not pleased with what is happening, and that is why we're here today. As you can see, there are a lot of Nigerians who are protesting about the killing of families, people who are determined to tear the country apart violently, and it is not something that we support. It is not something that we would like to see continue, and we are here today to send a clear message to the Nigerian government through the High Commissioner that what is happening in the country is unacceptable and we cannot accept it. If that continues, it will lead to the violent disintegration of the country. There will be no more Nigeria for anyone to go to. There will be no Nigeria for anyone to refer to. In fact, what is happening in Somalia today will be like a tea party. So we cannot allow this nonsense to continue. Something has to be done, and the consequences of the actions of terrorism in Nigeria must be driven home to the people, so that even the terrorists themselves will be able to understand that there is no mileage in where they're going. The only thing they can accomplish is the breakup of Nigeria. If they think that they can cower people, if they think they can force people to be coerced into a religion which is not theirs, then they are clearly mistaken. We are asking for peace. We are asking for people to get together. We are asking for everybody who loves Nigeria, who is associated with that country, to please prevail upon terrorism in Nigeria so we can bring it to an end. That is why a multitude of Nigerians are gathered here today. Those of us in the UK are determined to work with the government for peace. We are determined to work with the Council Committee for peace. But one thing we cannot stomach is a repeat of 1966. What is happening today in Nigeria was the reason why Nigeria fought a bitter civil war for 3 years between 1967 and 1970. If this continues, there will be another civil war in Nigeria. And this time around, no place will be safe in Nigeria. This time around, nobody will be safe in Nigeria. So it is imperative that everybody who has the interest of the country at heart acts now and immediately to stop this nonsense from continuing.
Thank you. I am still dealing with this very loud noise, so bear with me, okay? So I'm putting something up. That's strange. Come on. Right. So I think it's a little bit better. We can move on. So, brethren, bear with me. All right. I think that sorts it. Again, brethren, Rufire, Kaduna Littlefinger, the guy that changed his mind last minute when it was obvious that Emefiole, was going to bury the Tinubu's dream, or possibly prevent you from witnessing what you are currently facing in that contraption today. Rufire, the brain behind Muslim tickets in Nigeria. Somebody who even bragged about it. We don't know what went wrong, but maybe we actually did know what went wrong when Rufire got, shamed, disgraced by Tinubu's appointment that was never to be. So Rufire was to be a minister. Something probably went kind of like, an agreement gone sour, whatever it was. Initially, when Rufire started this campaign of rescuing Nigeria from Tinubu, it was like a joke, still a joke. But a lot of people have been like, you know what, people need to come together if to save Nigeria from this Tinubu and all that. And who are those people to come together? Rufire, Atifku, Obi, Kwakwansop, Okoro Awusa, who else is there among them? So they are bringing themselves together again as strange bedfellows. There was an idea that they were going to start their own political party, which they call a neutral platform, because most of the political parties in that contraption they are like compromised. Then when you look at the team or look at the faces of those who are gangling up or so against Tinubu, you begin to see the names and the faces of the same Tinubu's boys. So what went wrong between Rufire and Tinubu? It's so little, it's just a rhetorical question. So I'm not expecting you to give me an answer, because a lot of people have given different answers. Said, because it was jilted, used and dumped. Others said that it's because it's a regular Fulani, they can't live outside power. If they are not in power, definitely the whole world can come crashing until they have it. So many answers. I don't give a shit about any of those excuses whatsoever. But my point, my own responsibility, should I call it responsibility? My own sort of calling is to continue to remind those of you who want to be deceived, because there are some of you who are willing as slaves, willing to be deceived again and again and again and again. Because all they have to tell you is that they want to rescue you from one oppressor. Some oppressors want to rescue you from other oppressors. And because of that, you begin to possibly, have your preference and what have you. Anyway, yesterday, the same Rufire that was, all over the place for Tinubu, like I said, it's kind of like announced, is parting ways with APC, Egbekegbe. In the last controversial TV appearance, which sort of also went viral at the time, where Rufire called Tinubu Agbero, a common tout. So he said that APC, Egbekegbe, has left him, not him leaving APC. And he said he wasn't leaving APC until when he's so certain that his ambition and his political whatever in rescuing Nigeria is achievable under such political party, which is another political party. Anyway, let's cut it short. The same Rufire announced, or yesterday, left APC, Egbekegbe, and went to the same party that he's been associated with for so long, SDP. Now, let me give you a kind of clarity about this El Rufire's adventure. You see, like Wirewike in Rivers, El Rufire also kind of like miscalculated when he decided to rig his own supposed friend, Basoni, who lost an election, but he is the governor of Kaduna State today, courtesy of the compromised rigged system in that contraption. For some reason, I don't know, there's no allegation that El Rufire wanted to be collecting some percentage of the state allocation like Wirewike. I don't know what went wrong. Basoni dumped him a few hours after the Supreme Court judgment confirmed him as the Kaduna governor. Since all the legal roadblocks have been removed, so it was time for them to part ways. And immediately, Basoni threw El Rufire in the bin, trash can. In fact, it was believed that it was a memo sent by the same Basoni to Tinubu that got El Rufire, right, disgraced at the National Assembly during their ministerial screening. El Rufire said it wasn't the National Assembly that rejected him, it was Tinubu that rejected him. So it's more or less like, you know, somebody who felt used and dumped is coming back for his own pound of flesh, and it is also spreading to his own children. One of his sons that usually was this, this lunatic on social media, this uncut asshole on social media, started retracing his own steps as well. In fact, started praising Peter Obi, same guy who was all over the place for the same Tinubu as well, right? Now, said Peter Obi is surprisingly not a bad person, really, after all. My views on him have changed recently because your papa said he should change it. My mind was poisoned by my former party members, really, Star Obi. He said a great potential president of VP. Now, this is what they, this is the normal narrative of politics. There's no permanent friend, there's no permanent enemy, only permanent foolish people that believes in them. Do you understand now? There's nothing like according to the there's no permanent friend, there's no permanent enemy. In their politics, only permanent, foolish, gullible morons that listen to them, So El Rufire's children, they are now going to be very nice to Obi. I remember this time, was it this time around last year? No, it wasn't. I think it was like nearly 2 years ago, by the way. Just immediately they sworn Tinubu in. El Rufire was expecting to be a member of his government, but that was never to be. He publicly confessed that they used religion in 2023. Okay, they used religion, especially up north, in order to push this Tinubu agenda. This Muslim ticket was like a jihad, and he was so proud of it. He said, there will never be any time again that any Christian, right, would actually like rule over Nigeria. He also said they did everything to make sure that those who were against the Muslim tickets, that they crushed them. In his words, as discussed inside the Arise News almost 2 years ago. Watch this.
Former Governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, has been accused of wanting to set Nigeria on fire. With his utterances, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Plateau State, Samuel Kwamko, made the accusation after a video in which El-Rufai allegedly stated that he deceived Christians during the course of the electioneering campaigns, that the APC Muslim ticket was not for religious dominance, when in actual fact, the tickets, both nationally and at the state level, were for Islamic dominance. In the video, which has since gone viral, El-Rufai is reported to have also said that the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu had silenced the Christian Association of Nigeria, adding that he will sustain an Islamic-dominated government for 20 years and unending, not only in Kaduna State, but in Nigeria at large. Kwamko, who is also a former national director of the Christian Association of Nigeria, while reacting to El-Rufai's comments, expressed disappointment at his classification of citizens of his state as them versus us, which to him meant that the former governor cannot be exonerated from the wanton killings, demolition of houses, and places of worship of Christians in Kaduna. Well, let's take a listen to a short clip of that video before we come back for a discussion.
Duk da taron dangin da aka yi duk da addini da aka yi amfani da shi, Allah ya ba Asiwaju nasara. Abinda muka samu muka yi a Kaduna yanzu an yi shi a ƙasa gaba daya. Babu wani makaryaci da zai zo ya ce zai fito ya ce shi zai yi siyasa na Kiristanci ya ci zaɓe. Peter Obi ya yi ga inda yake. An yi maganin wannan, dole suka yi shiru. Tun da Asiwaju ya ci zaɓe kan tsit. To da haka ne za a samu zaman lafiya a ƙasar nan. To shi ma ka gani aka sake aka ƙara sai komi sai ya. Wallahi abinda muka yi kenan, kuma ni da wasu daga cikinmu mu a ganinmu mun gama aikin.
This has caused a huge debate on social media as well, but let me take a tweet before I take your comment. This person wrote, "It is really disappointing for El Rufai to brag about religion in a country that is trying to heal. What is the point of the speech? What point is he trying to prove in an election that was clearly questionable? The APC, tell your man not to sow seed of discord in this country." Over to you.
This is a tough one for me. I schooled in Kaduna, went to Sultan Bello Primary School. I went to FGC Kano. A number of my friends will refer to me as Dangarewa, Dankano, and things like that. I speak Hausa, and
I didn't know that.
Yes, I speak Hausa. I went to school in Kano. My school was just next to Sirkin Zazau's palace, Sultan Bello Primary School. And when I look at this, when I listen to that tape, I am just praying, please God, let Mala Nasir come out and say, no, this was doctored, that this is not him, this is not true.
Yeah, I waited 2 days to take the story.
I've been waiting for that to happen,
trending.
but it hasn't happened. And I will reach out to him at some point over the next day or two, because I've known Nasir Rufai from the days when I was living in England. I came back in 2011, and I still say I know him fairly well. This is the same man that has a Yoruba man as his spokesperson, Muyiwa Adekaye. This is the same man that has a lot of friends in Lagos, all over the country. He has a lot of friends who are Igbo, who are Hausa, who are Christians, who are Muslims. This man that I'm seeing in this video, I honestly don't recognize. I don't recognize this person. I don't know what has happened. I don't know the reason why he will speak in this way or say this kind of thing. I am hoping that this is not a man who has been extremely pretentious, who has been behaving in a way that made everybody believe that he's a different kind of person. So this is not someone that I honestly recognize. It's condemnable. Everything he has said in this video is condemnable. And I'm hoping he will still come out and say it was misinterpreted or that's not what he said. But if this is what he has said, this is condemnable, is despicable, is not acceptable for anybody in public office, anybody outside of public office, no matter what you do. You cannot say things like this and be taken seriously as somebody who has been involved in so many things that have shaped the future of Nigeria, and somebody who has a level of influence and capacity to really shape the future of this nation. This is not acceptable behavior. These are not the kind of words that you would expect from someone like him.
Right, but he did say it. Because that's where we usually have problem with some of these journalists, being an analyst on TV in Nigeria. You heard him clearly. He said it. He said their Muslim tickets is basically about Islamic dominance. They will dominate Kaduna State. Muslim will rule Kaduna State for more than 20 years, for the next 20 years uninterrupted. And similarly in Nigeria, Muslims will rule Nigeria for the next 20 years uninterrupted. It was on his high horse then. It was a godfather that just succeeded in installing his own friend, rigged his friend in as governor, all right? And at the same time, like he said, he deceived the Christians in northern Nigeria by telling them that a Muslim ticket wasn't about Islam. Unfortunately, when the power now got into the hands of Tinubu, again, the whole story, the whole narrative changed. Rufire became internally displaced politician, IDP. And since then, it's been moving everywhere, talking about how they